Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Love Story Part 1, Giving Him 27M, space after I, 32F, moved halfway around the world, military, healthcare, cheating, break up in a relationship for 4 years, anniversary is tomorrow actually. We met in grad school within the same healthcare profession and spent 3 years together inseparable and completely in love. This was followed by 1 year of LDR in residency with each of us in a new state. If you want to call the 1.5 hours long distance that is. He had never been away from home before and had a really tough time during that year with loneliness and hating his job. Despite the fact that I was working 100-hour weeks, I would drive to see him every weekend even if just for a sleepover. We texted every day, we said special goodnights and I love you every day. The weekends we did have together were excellent and filled with love and laughter. Though he didn't do a good job reciprocating the driving effort, there were no other red flags. However, looking back, I think I became codependent because I felt that I could solve his depression and loss of self with more love. I didn't maintain proper relationship boundaries or ask him for the things that I needed in return, but I felt I was strong enough to wait. But for what it's worth, up until that point he had always given me what I needed. Prior to this he was so good to me. In January 2021, I made the choice to give up specializing in my career because I saw a future together that would be incredibly complicated by his job. And I realized I eventually wanted a family and couldn't see how I could have it all. You see, he is indebted for 4 more years to the military due to his scholarship and my residency would also require 4 more years where there was no possible location where we could be together. We knew we wouldn't be able to make it through another LDR. I don't regret this choice. We discussed moving to where he currently lived when he then receives an offer to take a military post halfway around the world and asks, what do you think of us living there? I am able to practice my career there, without specialty, which is okay and it is a beautiful tropical location. We are so excited. We make all kinds of plans, we ship our belongings in May and sleep on air mattresses as we finish out our current programs. My goal at this time was to spend the 2 years, his pieces orders, they're making up for lost time in our LDR the year and figuring out the long term. We would live rent-free and I was hired at a job where I would also make $150,000 there. This adventure became our dream. In June 2021, his family hosted a going-away party. I have always been close with his family. Up until this point, we had only ever had a few bickering fights, one person being a bit too tipsy on a night out, but never a real argument because we both aimed to avoid conflict. We also had not up until now talked seriously about the future in terms of engagement, marriage, family goals, timelines. In all honesty, we always put it off because until these past several months, we had never known if we'd be able to make our lives work together because of our careers. Even still, we love being around each other and have the most amazing companionship, truly best friends and lovers. I mean it when I say that we get along so well, even now. In July 2021, he moves around the world 2 weeks ahead of me as I spend some extra time with friends and family. His texts feel off but my bags are packed, everything I own is across the world, flights are booked, temp hotel and apartment search underway, my job contract signed, his car shipped. I chalk it up to him being nervous and alone there and his time zone off by 14 hours with an immediate 5-day deployment with no cell service immediately when he arrives. A few weeks before I left, he blindsided me with a huge block of text that started with I've been thinking and I don't think you should come because I am unsure about our long-term future. We talk on the phone for 8 hours, we fix things. He apologizes and says he is just so stressed and scared and isn't sure what the future holds. Things seem okay, just cold feet and he says it's because his family started asking him when we would get engaged and it scared him. I tell him that we haven't even had a chance to discuss engagement/future yet and we need to live together in paradise and enjoy life together before we make that decision. He agrees. One day prior to my flight, he texts me, "Are you sure you're ready to do this?" I say yes, and he says, "Okay, I just need you here." We are so much better together, but I start having doubts when we are apart. I then move across the world. In early August 2021, I will arrive at the airport. We live in a hotel for 2 weeks, which isn't too bad, but he has to work every weekday. I explore the island, find restaurants for us, do intake tasks for my job. I recover from jet lag. We signed a lease, but moving isn't for another few weeks. We spend nights and weekends dining by the beach and exploring. He still seems a bit off, but I figure it's just because we are still waiting on our apartment / his / furniture to arrive. One day we are staying in a cute beach Airbnb and I say, "I am so happy to be on this journey with you," and he doesn't respond. I say, "Wait, did you hear me?" And after a long pause he says, "I love you, but I still have doubts about us long term and I don't know why." We talked through things again that night and are okay in the morning. In the morning, he says he is sorry that his head is such a mess, but he is having such a hard time with his job transition and moving overall. He tells me to buy a car that day, so I do. In mid-August 2021, on a Monday we finally move into our beautiful 3BR/2-bar apartment overlooking the ocean. All of our furniture is delivered, we unpack, we celebrate with drinks on the balcony. We hang at the pool, we are us again. We unpack our clothes and share the closets because we like to have our stuff together, even though there is more than enough room to have our own. We pick sinks and resume our regular sides of the bed. Everything fits perfectly. He takes the week off from work for us to get settled, and I also have the whole week. We love all the same things and we both look around the apartment and every piece of it is filled with us. On Tuesday, I received a like on an old Facebook post of mine that is clearly a female stalking my profile who accidentally liked it. He is our only mutual friend, so I ask him and he says, "Oh, that's my assistant from the past year, but I don't know why she was on your page. She is beautiful." I feel suspicious but figure maybe it was a work crush / flirt and she now lives on the other side of the world. I choose to let it go. On Wednesday, he goes to his base to go to the food shop. I can't go because we are unmarried and COVID precautions, but I go shopping on my own. I receive a text that says, "I am so sorry, but I lied to you. Her and I started texting 2 months ago after I finished my job. I want to be with her." I have a panic attack in the store and ask him to come home immediately to talk. He does. He tells me that he always thought she was cute and nice but never acted on anything till he ended his job. She was his subordinate technically. They started texting after he had already moved away from the state he had been working in. He also had spent a few weeks with family prior to leaving like I did. The texting got inappropriate and they started sending naked pictures and liking all of each other's Instagram photos. The icing on the cake. He had to fly from his parents' house back to her state for his military flight across the world and lied to me about staying with a friend. He ducked her that one night the day before he moved. He said it was more exciting than with me. He tells me that he knew all of this was wrong, but he kept hoping that once I got there and the more we invested in our life together, the more clarity he would have about us. But he wanted to keep talking to her too. He admitted that he knew that doing so was not giving his 100% to me at all. He never planned to tell me about her, but she found out about me first. He thought his feelings for her would blow over. You think that at this point I would have just said duck this and left, but we spent days and days talking in circles. On Thursday he told me that he didn't mean what he said in the text and chose me. He says he has to call her and tell her. She hadn't known he was still with me or that I moved with him until the prior day either. He calls her and I sit and listen to them on the phone for hours, like 4. I beg him to get off the phone but he just can't. He says he feels guilty because he hurt her too. When they finally disconnect, he calls her back 6 times because he wanted to make sure she hung up first. The following days are a whirlwind of pain and normalcy. We finally talk about all our hopes and dreams for the future and realize our marriage goals and future life are aligned. We realize we want all of the same things, but he says he loves her too and it's going to take time for him to nurse this breakup with her. I ask him to cut her out of his life. He says he can't yet. He continues to follow her on Instagram and like her daily photos. Silly, I know. They continue to text, but he assures me it is just for closure. He knows very well that he is breaking me over and over, but he just can't let her go, and I am not strong enough to leave him yet. In my mind, I just want to forget it all and move forward. He says she would never move around the world, and if he and her were together they would do long distance texting for 2 years. I can't believe there are days where he wants to choose this instead of the life we had planned together. We cried for a week straight. Emotions are so high. There is nowhere for either of us to go because we just moved here and have no family or friends. We finally have amazing sex many times over these weeks and are open with each other about things we want in our sex life that we weren't able to express before. We learn so much about each other during this time, even though it was surrounded by so much pain. He confides in me about everything. And surprisingly, he stops lying for the most part and is blatantly honest with me about this girl. He calls his family/friends for support multiple times and tells them everything, even about the cheating. He expresses to them that I am amazing and he doesn't know why he did this, but for some reason he still just has doubts about me being the one and he doesn't know why. He tells them that I know him better than he even knows himself. He tells them I love him for all of his imperfections and secrets and that he doesn't think he will ever find someone like me again. He tells them that we've shared so many things no one else knows and we have the best relationship, living together and being together, like all's right with the world and so comfortable. He tells them he loves me so ducking much, but we just lost the spark at some point and he didn't keep putting in the effort like he should have. He hates himself. He tells them he regrets everything that has happened but doesn't know how to move forward and love himself again, let alone have the energy to love someone else right now. He tells them he is still so depressed in his career, but he's now starting to realize that happiness maybe comes from those around you and life itself, when he had put so much time into thinking it was career satisfaction. At one point the week prior, he started to propose to me with my grandmother's ring. I normally wear it on a diff finger, but I stopped him. I said I didn't want that in all this heartache. I want a story to tell our children. However, he also tells them at some point that he could practically marry this other girl he cheated on me with tomorrow because she is perfect. I text his family too, just to tell them how much I love their son and that I am here to support him. I overhear as his mom reads the long text I sent her on the phone to him. She cries at the end and tells him that I truly love him unconditionally, and he says, "Mom, it should be so easy to choose her forever, why can't I do it?" Overall, his parents and friends say that if he had it in me to cheat on me, that maybe I am just not the one, despite how much we love each other so deeply. His family tells him that him and I need some space right now to heal ourselves, and that there is no great emergency in making choices. I sort of disagree with this, but will explain the complications later. Honestly, this girl is Instagram perfect and way out of her league. My suspicion is that she fell for her boss, but it is not a realistic relationship long term. Typical co-worker cheating. She was his assistant every day during our LDR year and supported him at work when I was too busy with my own job. He is now infatuated with her, and for some odd reason, she claims she wants to be with him too, even if it's just talking for 2 years. Keep in mind it is at minimum a 20-hour flight between her and him now, with a 14-hour time difference. She is not willing to move because she is very religious. He is not at all. And her church/family is too important to her. It is also very expensive, and she doesn't have a job that particularly pays super well, though it is decent. For instance, to import a dog here right now it is minimum $5,000, and she has 2 dogs she would not leave. BTW, I also have a dog that was about to come live with us. He generally does not like dogs. I know. Friday, August 27th, I keep my shit together and try to support him through his loss of her. He tells me that I won, but he still feels so guilty for everything he put us both through. On the previous Wednesday, I break down a bit and he says that the more upset I keep getting, the more pressure he feels and starts to resent me. I know this is ducked up, but I figure he is nursing a loss of love with her. He tells me he had not texted or talked to her since Sunday. Found out this was true. but my sadness that day prompts him to text her behind my back again, but I don't find this out until Friday. I know this is wrong, but after we finally felt like we were moving forward, he started acting strange, so I look at his iWatch messages while he's at work. I have previously never ever gone through his phone or invaded his privacy, but I was just so suspicious. I can't even bear to reiterate what I saw in just 2 days of messages. I did not read any further back, but here's a summary. He tried not to talk to her but couldn't stand it, so he was writing her notes every day. I love you, I want to marry you and have your children, trust me that you are the one I want to be with. On Friday, I pack every belonging I own in boxes while he's at work. I leave every memory of us, every photo, everything he ever gave to me. He comes home, and I refuse to say a word to him for a few more hours while I pack everything. He calls his family, freaking out. I take my suitcase and go to a hotel, fully intending to leave forever. Saturday, August 28th, I wake up at 6 a.m. at the hotel and I have a knot in my stomach. I can't help myself from going back to the apartment. He is still awake talking to a friend, but he hangs up when I get there. We watch the sunrise together. We talk like humans that love each other. We agree that we have to move past this, but we don't know how. He asks me to stay so many times, so I stay. We love each other all day and spend the whole time talking about life. We share more secrets and feelings. He calls her and tells her it's over for real. He tells me that was the final closure he needed. All is right in the world. We again have the best sex we ever had multiple times. I fall asleep in his arms. The world is right again. Sunday, August 29th, we decide that we have to update his parents that we are going to work through this. He calls them individually and one good friend. None of them think it's a good idea for us to stay together right now. They think we need space. We have too many drinks. He starts to question why we are the only ones who want to keep fighting for us when no one else believes in us. I tell him it's because we are the only ones who know our relationship fully. He had never really shared our relationship with them prior to this incident, so obviously they are concerned. At one point he says you should leave, so I get it in my head that I am leaving. I say we can at least have another beer and some Chinese together, so we do. Later that night, he says, "What do you mean you're leaving?" And I am so confused because he had told me to leave earlier. He says he didn't really mean it, maybe too much drinking? I continue to be confused because the past weeks have been a back and forth with my heart every day. We go to sleep finally and he says I love your eyes before we pass out exhausted. Monday, August 30th a.m., we both have to go to work. I text him in the morning normal cute things because I think we are back on track and I finally feel like we are going to work through things after the weekend we had. We sincerely had a breakthrough. I ask him about tacos for dinner and he oddly answers, "How are you doing?" To which I respond, "I'm okay except that you are keeping me in limbo about the tacos." He replies, "I am not doing good." Basically she had just texted him again and gave him an ultimatum. She said, "Over the past weeks, I went on a few dates with your best friend here, also technically another of her military bosses, and I wanted to get serious with him. But I'd rather be with you long distance, but only if your girlfriend leaves." He freaks out. I feel like this is her playing mind games. She was engaged prior to this also to another military person. It seems like she is dying to get married. But surprisingly, I am so calm. I am so impressed with how calm I am. See him at work. I tell him I am so sorry that his heart is going through all of this damage right now, and I'm sorry she said that to him. I tell him it's going to be okay, but as his best friend, I really don't think she has his best interest at heart. He tells me he hates himself so much right now and doesn't think his heart can handle hurting anymore. I tell him that he made a lot of mistakes and hurt a lot of people, but this doesn't define who he is. I tell him that he can hate what he did to everyone, but he must learn to love himself again. I tell him he is deserving of love. He tells me he doesn't deserve her or me. He says especially not me. I ask him what he needs from me, and he says let me go. My heart breaks, but I tell him I will let him go. He tells me that he thinks he is making the biggest mistake of his life letting me go. I lie and tell him that I'm going to be okay. We agree that we can talk through some of the logistics at home that night. Monday, August 30th p.m, he arrives home in tears to find me doing the dishes and running a load of laundry for him. I had never unpacked my belongings from Friday, though the suitcase contents are all over. The tons of boxes and bins still sit in the hallway. All of our photos and shared items still in their original places. I never touched them. When I look around, everything in that apartment is half mine still. Even if it is his, it is saturated in me. We sit at the table and hold hands and have a drink. He tells me that the girl said she never wanted to speak to him again. I don't know if this stuck or if they continued talking. He continues to cry and I tell him it's going to be okay. Then I start to cry as we talk about our life and our love. I swear that we never once argued through the past weeks of heartache. We discussed and we negotiated and we cried and we shared. I now feel like I know him even better than before, and his current pain is still my pain. We have so much history together. We grew up together through grad school and share all of the same friends. Every memory of his adult life is with me because we started dating when he was only 22 and is now 27. He only had 3 girlfriends before me, one in high school, one who was a huge cheating bitch, one nice one he took advantage of, then a bunch of hookups. We look through our memory boxes. We shower together until the hot water runs out because that's what we always do. We have sex one last time and it was something super special for both of us. We take stock of all the things we share, like stuffed animals and other silly things like toys and blankets and tiki cups. We have an ongoing joke that we are the Bear family, which is now a party of 18. We talk about how much we really do love our life together and how amazing it was to live together because we were so in sync. We know we are still the other's best friend and no one can take our pain. We talk about how since I'm older I have more life perspective. He says he can't imagine life without me and he's so happy when we are together, but somewhere over the past year he lost himself. I tell him that I can share my life experience with him and help him through this, but he tells me that he needs to do it on his own. He takes my grandmother's ring and goes into the office where he traces it like 15 times on post-its. We bought a plane ticket for me to head back to the US in the morning. Multiple times we say that I should stay. Screw the ticket. I want to stay. He wants me to stay. But we both know that if I stay, he will not find the clarity he needs regarding his doubts about marrying me, and neither of us can heal. I want someone who will choose me without me having to convince them, and he can only do that on his own. Regardless of everything that has happened, I still want a future with him. Tuesday, August 31st, in the middle of the night, I wake up and write him a letter where I ask him to stop me, keep me, defy the odds with me. I gave him the letter in the morning and regretted it because he read it and immediately said, "I want you to stay." It would seem like that's all I ever wanted, right? But you see, through some of my soul searching over those past weeks, I had realized that because I loved him so fiercely, my codependency was not letting me let him make his own choices. I would prompt him into choosing me repeatedly. I would talk him out of his doubts. This was not with malicious intent, but because I truly love him so much. I know him so well that I knew all the ways that I could keep him, but I was denying him his own free will. It was in that moment that I knew I had to leave if I ever wanted him to figure out on his own if I am truly the one he wants to be with forever. We brought my suitcase down to the car. He told me one more time that this was our last chance, but we both got in the car. One of my friends described my codependency as you keep putting the ball in his court, but when he doesn't throw it back to you, you keep walking over there and handing it to him. She is right. The airport drop-off. This occurs a few hours after we read my letter. I send an email to my job saying I need some time off and will keep them updated. They are okay with it. On the way to the airport, we cry and say this seems like a huge mistake, but we have to see it through for us all to heal. He is messing with his phone on the drive and he breaks down and says he is already looking up 4-day military weekends so that he can fly to me and apologize to all my friends and propose to me. He is in his military uniform and we kiss each other goodbye like in the movies. He grabs my face and says I love you and sobs. I tell him I will always love you. fix yourself then fix us. He nods. We kiss again and he drives away. I half expected him to drive back around but he doesn't. What do I do? He left me in limbo and I am so lost. I don't mean to burden anyone with my long story but I'm trying to process. I literally have been in agony for the past week trying to sort through my emotions. Can't eat, can't get out of bed. We've shared a few texts but he says we shouldn't talk if we don't want all this space and heartache apart to be in vain. Is that just code for him slowly ending things? Or is he just keeping me hanging? BC it's easier for him to process slowly. We are not together. How long am I to wait? How long do I wait if I need to get back to my job? If I move my whole life back to the US, it's going to be incredibly difficult to ever go back. How do I keep no contact with him if I need him to deal with my affairs there? Stuff, car, paychecks, bills? Do I maintain no contact for our anniversary tomorrow? Oh my goodness. I just read this whole thing with my jaw on the floor. You sound so much like me years ago when my ex left me for the co-worker. Don't be so hard on yourself. He is beyond manipulative and abusive. I can't even imagine how confusing things are right now. Please seek therapy. Please realize he is not who you think he is. He's a bad person. I refused to believe this for so long. Open your eyes. He used you for comfort until he felt he found someone better. Reality is going to hit him hard when he finds out, the grass is only greener where you water it. Don't look either of them up ever again. Go no contact. Become a ghost to him. Make like he never existed and you will be able to start to move on. He never deserves to think your name again. Realize you cannot talk your way into things working out. You cannot unsee all the things he made you see. You were the victim of his abuse. I know it's hard to see right now. But look at all the sacrifices you made for him. The way I see it, he's a monster. I know he treated you well until the other girl but that man is gone. He let you waste your money, time, energy and life accommodating him and his waffling. What a coward. That man you knew was never real. It was a facade. Research narcissism. He is 100% abusive. He's a cheater. Let the trash take itself out. He will do to this girl what he's done to you. Do not listen to what he said, look at what he did. Actions speak louder than words. He's a professional con man. You don't have to be a victim of him anymore. Imagine 20 more years of this BS with him. Please seek therapy so you can learn how to love yourself. You deserve so much better. I've been through this. I thought I wasn't very far ahead but reading your post and the familiarity makes me realize how far I've come which I never thought was possible. The days get better. You will get through this. Your relationship is over but you are still here. This breakup was a gift. This is a hard lesson to learn but be kind to yourself as you continue to learn. Good luck. Your partner is a child who can't make and own his decisions. I know he's way too important for you to let go. It seems like you have always made his decisions for him hence now he just agrees with you then agrees with someone else's advice. Don't worry I hope it works out soon for you but if not just remember a saying that goes along these lines if you want to know if your love is true then set it free if it returns it was true if it doesn't then darling you better off, winking face. You have to look forward. Right now, he is your past. If he wants into your future, he will have to catch you. Don't look back. Send him a list of the logistics that he needs to handle and treat your interactions like co-parenting. No updates, no how are yous, no misuse, no remembrances. Stick to the logistics. Put yourself back on the pedestal and love yourself again. Remember what you told him? My heart breaks with you. I agree with your friend and I am so proud of you for making the first step of taking space. Because, beautiful, you made that choice. Stuck with it and now never mind what he chooses you get to make your choice. If you were to read this all over again and imagine it's not you but a sister or your best friend, if you had a daughter, what would you say? Would you think they deserve this emotional roller coaster? Endless tug of war? I know that only you and him know your full story. But looking at it from afar, what do you see? You are not a burden. And I'm sorry if I'm coming in strong. I just feel for you. And I can tell you are so freaking strong. You feel with passion and love with unbreakable strength. You deserve that kind of love, and even if at the beginning it seems impossible or unwanted, the thought of moving on and finding a new love is not even a thought. You so deserve it. I don't even know you and I believe it. Stay strong, love. And whatever happens with him, value yourself. Value yourself and fight for you. Oh honey. You're too important to be someone's second choice. You need to cut ties. He is a child, and you have completely enabled his waffling with your lack of a reasonable response to cheating and betrayal. You seem just fine settling for crumbs when you deserve someone who is committed, supportive, and consistent. I hope you gain some clarity. I feel for you. Please break up with him for yourself. He is not worth the pain. Imagine he's talking about loving another girl and you're just sitting there like, I'm still here? I'm going to just say it. He's an idiot. He has no ability to think for himself. I wonder how the military could accept such a wishy-washy person as a leader. He must be their mistake too. You've let your love for him cloud the very essence of who you are. Love isn't supposed to hurt like this. That it does hurt should tell you everything you need to know. The closure is only going to come by distance and time. Just like mourning the death of a loved one, you will go through the stages until finally, you reach acceptance. Accept that he's really not the one. Accept that at the bottom of everything he's a cheating liar. Accept that he's not grown up and probably never will be grown up. Accept that you made a mistake and that as much as you love him, he isn't worth it. Accept that what you've really done is enable his dysfunction. Text him and tell him you are blocking him on everything. If he needs to contact you, he can have someone else do it. Then block his number, his social media, his email, everything for at least 3 months. This is so painful to read. I agree with everyone here when I say you have to go no contact. You are in pain, and you have no responsibility to help him heal from his pain from a breakup with another woman. Nurture yourself, or you will never have enough for him, your relationship or children if you move on with him. You have to go no contact. I know it will hurt. You will have to treat this like a death, and in a way it is. You have to move through the stages of grief and mourn your relationship. It's okay to grieve, stay in bed, cry until your eyes are swollen shut, you've broken blood vessels and your body hurts. Accept that all of it will happen, and none of that is wrong. You will grieve. But, day by day, you will begin to pick yourself up. As you gain distance from this, you will gain clarity. You will know that you deserve to be someone's perfect person. You deserve someone that only thinks of you and cares for you. You cannot heal someone else if you have nothing to help heal you. You know in your heart what you need to do. It will be the hardest thing to do, but you deserve to be the one and only to someone who loves only you. You are smart, and strong and just amazing. You can do this. Please, go no contact. Texting, being on Instagram or watching him on other platforms will be so much more painful than not talking to him for months. To close out your life there and tie up loose ends, have him go through someone else. You deserve to heal, and to be loved by someone else. Take it day by day. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.